Okay, so guess who's back at content creating? This guy. Konnichiwa, what's up? Now we're not going to be doing that anymore because we're going to test some waters, see where we're going to go with this channel, and just the main thing I got to do is have fun. I got to have fun. And today I just want to talk about how I went from 10 years in Japan, being the craziest adventures, from being an actor to a stuntman to a teacher to doing professional stand-up comedy, from doing martial arts with the Yakuza to being a host. A lot of you don't know that I did that. And all that craziness to coming back to be in Canada, be with my friends, be with my family, getting into rave culture, the music scene here, learning to DJ, and more importantly, getting one with my spirituality. Yes, I'm a hippie. I'm a hippie. From Japanese kawaii with shaved hair and no beard to growing out my beard and becoming a hippie and little psychedelic here and there. Ha! And yeah, it's been a crazy journey. What's there to say that I haven't said already? A lot. When I was in Japan, I lived there for 10 years and I did a lot of crazy things, as I mentioned. And since coming back to Canada, a lot has changed. It's been 3 years, and in those 3 years, I've made new friends. I've come back to Canadian culture, although I still don't feel like I belong. And I've done a lot of interesting things. I've traveled around BC, my province here in Canada. I've gone to a lot of music festivals, Shambhala twice, did a Europe trip and went to Tomorrowland as well. And yeah, it was amazing. And I met so many cool people all across the globe. I've had new experiences. Dating life in Canada is very different than dating in Japan. Wow. And yeah, it all brought me back to myself and realizing who I am and what I want to be. So let's dive into it. So one of the biggest things I learned since coming back to Canada after living in Japan for 11 years is that, sadly, and some of you might attack me for this, but living in Japan, there was a term a lot of people threw around that was called Peter Pan syndrome. And that's basically the idea that people don't want to grow up in Japan. Everything's amazing, right? And it was. Every day there was fun. I lived near Shibuya and Shinjuku, so when I lived in Tokyo for the last 7 years of my 10 years or something like that, or no, more 7.5, because I was in Gunma Prefecture, the countryside, for 2.5 years. So when I moved back to Tokyo, I was right smack down in the middle. Where I lived in a town called Eifukucho. It was very small, but I had all the convenience stores near me. I had a KFC, I had the McDonald's, everything was around me. It was perfect. It was easy to live in. And Shibuya and Shinjuku was so close that every day I could go out into the big cities and experience city life. And that's the one thing I miss about being in Japan was every day there was something interesting. No matter what new movie was on there. I mean, I think the new Ghostbusters came out when I was in Japan, so the big screen had like a camera that showed like downtown, and around everyone was like animated ghosts over there playing the Ghostbuster theme for like 4 days straight, which was pretty cool. And when Terminator came out, which was a couple years before that, there was a big Arnold Schwarzenegger statue of him going into the lava, like right downtown. And of course now in Shibuya, or Shinjuku, Shibuya I think, they have like a whole new giant Godzilla head overlooking the movie theater. So no matter where you went in Tokyo, there was always something happening and something cool. And that's what I miss about the city, was it was like every day was new and exciting and there was something cool there. Whereas when I moved back to Canada, Vancouver's kind of like Gunma. Kind of like the countryside of Japan, where it's a city and it's big, but really there's not that much going on. But what I did learn since coming back to Canada was how much I love nature and how important it is to smell the trees and how beautiful it is that everybody's house has like trees lining the roads or flowers of all different kinds blooming through the seasons. Every season has new flowers here and I love it. Not only that, but I've had friends here in Canada that I've befriended that have showed me a lot about different types of trees and different types of flowers. And now I'm also obsessed with mushrooms, not the evil kind, but all kinds. And now I really like just going out in nature and finding new plants and animals and things. This year alone, I think I've seen 6 owls, which I've never seen in my life. Let alone in Japan, they don't even have owls. The most wildlife you'll see in Tokyo is maybe a stork, and maybe the tiny little birds that go all around Tokyo. But yeah, there's no nature in Japan really, especially not in Tokyo. In Gunma, I did see wild boars though. These guys with the teeth, and they're called inoshishi. And I remember seeing them one time with an ex-girlfriend, and the car was parked and we went out, or no, we didn't go out. I wanted to go out. I was like, man, it's a wild boar. That's freaking cool. And it looks so cute. It was with like 3 babies. And I was like, ah. And I parked the car and I was about to get out. And my girlfriend at the time was like, no, get back in. I was like, what do you mean? It's just a little pig. And she said, and luckily she did because it's true. She was like, get back in the car. Your car is like a little K car and those things will push it right over. And they are strong. They kill Japanese people sometimes. But that's why Japanese people also eat them in their soup. Yes, you can eat wild boar soup, and I ate it and it was good. But back to the story. So nature in Canada, there's so much great stuff here and I'm really enjoying the life here. And I just don't think I could go back to Japan solely on the fact that there's too many people, there's not enough nature, and really the main point, which some of you are going to criticize me about, but it's hard to be spiritual and grow as a person in Japan. I feel Japan is a lot about materialism, it's a lot about just being obsessed, really. And that's where the word otaku comes from, if you ever heard that word, which we think of like nerd or whatever, but it comes from the word obsessed, which means like people really enthusiastic about something. And a lot of foreigners, yes, they're obsessed with anime, or maybe they're obsessed with Japanese food, or maybe people come to Japan to travel. When I went to Japan, it started as I wanted to be a professional MMA artist, and I love Japanese fighters. So when I did my 2.5 years at the junior high school, I was coming in with black eyes, and the teachers were like, what? But they accepted me because they knew I did martial arts, and a black eye here or there is nothing. And my students thought I was really badass, especially since they were all Yankees and wanted to be gangsters. They were like, oh, JJ Sensei is so strong. I like him. He's cool. But it wasn't fulfilling enough. And now that I'm back in Canada and I have the nature and I have all this, and there's talks about spirituality with my friends and people wanting to grow and become better people, I feel more like this is where I'm meant to be right now. Not saying I don't want to go back to Japan. I miss Japan. I really do. I miss the food, I miss the culture, I miss the politeness, I miss the cleanliness of the streets, I miss all the culture and friends and everything that I had in Japan. I did so much and I'm so grateful to them. So much that even where I live now in Canada, there's exchange students that come and live in this building. And just the other day, I took a Japanese girl out she's only here for 2 weeks. She's an exchange student, and I took her all out, all around Vancouver to 2 of the most famous beaches. I showed her hiking, I showed her all the different plants and everything. I gave her the full experience. And just like, that's my feeling, to give back to the culture and the people that gave me so much. And I really enjoyed it, and am happy that I could help them out. But as for living, I don't feel people can, Westerners especially, can grow spiritually in Japan. Yes, they have Shinto religion, and yes, they have practices like Oshogatsu, their New Year, where they do practice some Shinto religion, such as offering food to their deceased, and they do all this. But Japanese don't believe in that anymore. Shinto religion is a dead religion in Japan, and all the people there just kind of, how to say, not gave up their religion, but don't really believe in anything, really. It's still very much the mindset of go to school, graduate, get married, have a kid, life is over, but hey, enjoy it while it lasts, right? It didn't fill me or excite me. And I jumped on that bandwagon while I lived there for 10 years. I was like, I gotta get a girlfriend, I gotta get married, I gotta live this life. But when I came back to Canada now, everything's changed. And now I realized I didn't have as much empathy as I thought I did, and I worked on that, and now I do. And I'm joined up for the Big Brother program, which I'm going to do another video of and hopefully teach you guys a lot about that. And that's an exciting opportunity for me, where I get to help a kid who has troubles in his life, and I'm basically a male role model for him. And I'm so excited to work with this kid and take this new challenge in my life. And these are just opportunities, I couldn't really get in Japan. Even though when I worked at the junior high school, I was able to help the handicap class, which don't even get me started on that. Handicap classes in Japan are almost like penitentiaries, or at least in Gunma. Let's say at least in Gunma. And in Gunma, it wasn't good. They were bullied all the time. A lot of the teachers didn't help them. And it was very sad. And one of the boys was Brazilian, and he barely spoke any Japanese and had a hard time even adjusting to the school. And he was being bullied. And I remember one time I was working in the teacher's office, and his dad came in, and I can't remember what he was arguing about, but probably something about the bullying. And he came to me and he was just like, JJ, I think his name was Ralph or something. Ralph, I think of The Simpsons. Anyways, he was just like, oh, my son speaks so highly about you and told me how much you mean to him, and you come to the class and make him feel good. And I was like, wow, like, I'm making a difference here. And one time, like, the handicapped students were going to assembly in Japan, and I remember I was by them because I saw a lot of the students bullying. And the teachers got mad at me. They were like, JJ, what are you doing? You're supposed to be with your class. And I said, oh, whoa, whoa, whoa. I'm going with the handicap because obviously none of you are helping them out being bullied. And they go, oh, well, that just happens and kids will be kids. And I was like, no. And I got in trouble for that. But it was something I strongly believed in and thought that that was pretty shitty of them to do. But anyways, wrapping this thing up, there's a lot of stories. Comment down below what kind of stuff you want to hear about. I have a lot of exciting stuff going in my life outside of Japan, such as the rave culture, starting to DJ, and my journey with spirituality that I want to talk about because I think that they might be beneficial to people. But if you want to hear more stuff about Japan, let me know. And yeah, rebirth in the new channel. So let the fun begin. Let the games begin. And I'll catch you guys around. Thanks for watching.